Jack Carter sat alone in the small room at Earth Command. The walls were gray, and the air was cold. Outside the thick glass window, the rift pulsed in space. It looked like a glowing tear in the sky, always shifting and never still. Many people had studied it, but no one really knew what was inside. Jack was not like other pilots. He didn't talk much. Didn't have a family waiting for him. He liked being alone, and he was good at his job. That's why Earth Command picked him for this mission. They needed someone strong, someone who would not panic if things went wrong. "You sure about this?" Commander Blake asked him. She stood. Behind him, arms crossed, looking at the rift through the window. "Yes," Jack said simply. Blake gave a small nod. "The mission is dangerous. We don't know what's on the other side. But if you make it, it could change everything." He just looked at the rift. Something about it called to him. It was strange, but he didn't feel afraid. A few hours later, he was inside the scout ship Sparrow. It was small and fast. The best part was its new shield system. Scientists hoped the shields would protect the ship from the unknown forces inside the rift. Jack sat in the pilot's seat and ran the final checks. The ship's AI, a calm voice named Nora, spoke to him. "All systems ready, Jack." "Let's go," Jack replied. The ship lifted off from the docking station and moved toward the rift. It grew larger and larger on the screen. Jack tightened his grip on the controls. There was no turning back. As the ship entered the rift, the stars around him disappeared. The screen went black, then flashed with colors Jack had never seen before. The ship shook. Alarms beeped. Lights flickered. "Warning. Energy levels unstable," Nora said. "Hold together, girl," Jack muttered. For a moment, everything was silent. Then a loud crack hit the ship like thunder. Jack felt weightless. The controls stopped working. The screen went dark. Then everything faded. Jack opened his eyes. He was lying on the floor of the ship. The lights were dim. Smoke rose from a broken panel. He pulled himself up and looked around. The ship was badly damaged, but he was alive. He looked out the front window. The stars were gone. Instead, a strange sky full of swirling lights and floating rocks stretched out before him. It was beautiful and strange. "Nora," called out. There was no answer. Jack put on his suit and stepped outside. The air was thick, but breathable. The ground beneath him was smooth and dark, like polished stone. Strange plants grew in the cracks, glowing with soft light. He walked carefully, looking for any sign of danger. He didn't know how long he had. Walked before he saw her. A woman stood near a tall stone structure. She had long silver hair and pale skin. Her eyes were large and bright blue. She wore simple clothes made of something that looked like silk. She looked at him with surprise, but didn't run. Jack raised his hands slowly. "Not here to hurt you," he said. She tilted her head. "You speak words I know? Not perfect." "But I understand," Jack was surprised. "You speak English?" "Learned, long time, from others. They've gone now."
How?
Stepped closer. "I'm Jack. What's your name?" "Lyra," she said. They stood in silence for a moment, just looking at each other. Jack had many questions, but he didn't know where to start. Lyra pointed to the sky. "You came through the rift. You must not stay long. This place, ... it changes people." Jack frowned. "Can't leave. My ship is broken." Lyra looked at the ship. "In the distance?" She nodded slowly. "Then we fix it, together. But you must listen. This place is not just strange. It is alive." Jack didn't understand, but he nodded. He followed Lyra back to the stone structure. It was some kind of shelter. Inside, there were tools, food, and light from glowing stones. It felt safe. That night, Jack sat by a small fire. Lyra sat across from him. She watched the flames and spoke softly. "I was like you. Long ago, I came here with others. We wanted to learn, but the rift took them. I stayed." "Why didn't you leave?" Jack asked. "The rift won't let you go, unless it wants to." Jack looked into the fire. He didn't know what that meant. But something told him this place had more secrets than he could imagine. He had walked into the rift alone. Now, he was not alone, but he could feel it already. Something in this place watched him, something that was waiting asterisk. The sky above Jack and Lyra was always changing. Strange colors moved like waves, and stars blinked in and out as if they were alive. Jack still didn't understand this place, but he was learning to live in it. Each day he and Lyra worked on the broken scout ship Sparrow. The damage was worse than Jack first thought. Engines were offline, and many systems were burned out. Still, some parts were working, and with Lyra's help, Jack believed they had a chance to fix it. Lyra knew things he didn't. She showed him how to find strange crystals in the ground. They gave off energy, and she said they could be used to power machines, these stones. They are alive in a way, Lyra told him. Jack didn't question her. He had seen too many strange things already. Plants that moved without wind, water that floated in the air, light that made no shadows. One day while they were gathering the crystals, they heard a sound in the distance, a low hum like a voice, but not made of words. "What is that?" Jack asked. Lyra froze. Her face turned pale. "We go." "Now," she said sharply. They ran back to the shelter. That night, Lyra stayed quiet. Jack sat beside her, watching the fire. "What was that sound?" "It is," called the whisper, Lyra said slowly. "It comes when the rift is angry, when someone wakes something." Jack wanted to ask more, but he saw fear in her eyes. So, he kept quiet. The next morning, Jack explored the area around the ship. He wanted to find more usable metal or tools. Instead, he found something else. In a deep crack in the ground, half covered by stone and vines, he saw the edge of a doorway. It was made of black metal and had strange glowing marks. He called Lyra, and together they cleared the entrance. The door opened with a soft hiss, and a cold wind came out. Inside was a tunnel that led down into darkness. The walls were smooth and covered in symbols. Jack took a flashlight from his belt and stepped inside. "This is L design," Lyra whispered. "They were here before, long before us." The tunnel ended in a large room. In the center was a tall structure. It looked like a tree made of glass and metal, with wires like roots running into the floor. Jack stepped closer. As he touched the tree, the lights in the room came on. Ga-da-da-da-da-da. A deep voice filled the air, not with sound, but with thought. "Human, ... Welcome." Jack pulled his hand back, heart pounding. He looked at Lyra. "Did you hear that?" "Yes," she said. "It has awakened." Jack didn't understand what he had done. The tree thing seemed alive now. Lights moved through it like blood. The voice came again. "I am the voice. I remember all. I see beyond time." Jack felt something touch his mind. It wasn't painful, but it was strange. He saw flashy stars, battles, a black wave eating planets. "What is this?" he asked aloud. "You have touched a memory engine," Lyra said. "It holds the past, and sometimes the future." Backed away. He wanted to leave the room, but the voice wasn't done. "You are a gate," the voice said. "You brought new light. The rift listens. The rift remembers." Then the lights went out. The tree went still. Silence returned. Jack and Lyra left the tunnel and sealed the door behind them. Neither spoke on the walk back. Later, Jack sat alone near the fire. He felt strange. His skin was warm, and his mind was full of thoughts that were not his. He remembered things he had never seen. Machines with wings, beings made of shadow. War that burned through space. Lyra sat beside him. "It touched you," she said. Jack nodded. "What does it want to live again? To be heard? Maybe more." Jack felt the weight of it all. He had come into the rift alone, but now he was part of something much bigger. He didn't know what the voice was, but he felt it watching. The next day, Jack found he could move faster, think quicker. His body felt stronger. He lifted a heavy metal beam with ease. Yes, Lyra saw it too. "It is changing you," she said. "Am I becoming like the Eld?" "No. You are becoming something new." Jack didn't know if that was good or bad. As they worked on the ship, he started hearing faint whispers. They were not words, just feelings. A warning. A hunger. Storm coming. Lyra, the voice. It's still in me. I can feel it. She nodded. We must be careful. Not all knowledge is safe. Jack wanted to believe he could control it, but deep down, he knew something inside him had changed. It would not stay quiet forever. The rift had given him power. But it had also given him a burden, and he still had no idea how to get home. Days passed, and Jack grew stronger. He could lift heavy metal parts without help. He could see clearly in the dark. He could hear sounds far away, even before Lyra noticed them. The rift had changed him, and the voice inside him whispered more. Each night, Jack and Lyra continued to fix the sparrow. It was slow work, but progress was steady. They used the glowing crystals to power some of the broken systems.
Lyra
Showed him how to mix crystal dust with metal to repair the ship's circuits. Jack admired her knowledge, and Lyra began to trust Jack more. One morning, while collecting materials near the ridge, Jack spotted something strange. There was a group of tall stone pillars hidden behind thick vines. He had never seen them before, even though they had walked past that area many times. Lyra, did you see those pillars before? She turned and looked. Her eyes narrowed. No, they were not here before. They approached the pillars slowly. The air around them felt cold. The stones had carving symbols that glowed faintly when Jack touched them. The voice stirred in his mind. The Eld watched the stars from here, it whispered. They feared what waited in the dark. Jack pulled his hand away. Did you hear it? He asked Lyra. She shook her head. Only you. It speaks only to you now. Inside the ring of pillars, they found a platform. In the center was a small device, shaped like a cube with soft blue light inside. Jack reached for it, but Lyra grabbed his hand. Not yet, she warned. This place is sacred. It may be a trap. Jack nodded. Let's leave it for now.
That could be.
Shelter Jack asked her more about the Eld. They came from far away, Lyra said. They were not like humans or me. They lived for many lifetimes. They used thought to build, to fight, even to travel. But something came for them. Something they could not stop. Jack listened carefully. What was it? Lyra looked up at the sky. They called it the Shroud, a darkness that ate stars. Jack felt a chill in the voice. The last memory of the Eld. Maybe more. Maybe a warning. Jack couldn't sleep that night. The stars in the rift sky moved like rivers. He felt the voice watching through his eyes. The shroud comes, it whispered. You must prepare. He didn't understand how or when, but he knew something was coming, something dangerous. The next day, Jack worked harder. He wanted the sparrow ready. Lyra helped him connect the new power core. They tested the engines. A low hum filled the ship. It's working, Jack said with a smile. Lyra smiled back. Soon we leave. Jack looked at her. Will you come with me? She nodded. I have nowhere else, and I trust you. They spent the night packing supplies and preparing for launch. But before they could finish, the ground shook. A loud noise echoed through the valley. Something's coming, Jack said. They ran outside. A hole had opened near the ridge of tear in the ground, black and deep. From it, dark shapes floated out. Were like shadows with eyes, moving without sound. Riftborn, Lyra whispered. They come when the balance breaks. Jack felt the voice inside him rise. They are the lost ones, minds eaten by the rift. They serve the shroud. Jack ran to the ship. He powered up the shields. Lyra grabbed a crystal weapon from her shelter. The shadows came fast. Jack fired the ship's small cannon. The beam hit one shadow, and it screamed, vanishing in light. But more came. Lyra fought with calm skill, using the weapon to strike down any that came too close. Jack moved beside her, shooting with a handheld. Blaster the shadows, circled them, waiting. Then one larger than the rest floated forward. It had a strange shape, like a cloak made of night. It spoke in a voice that rattled the air. You carry the voice? You carry danger? Jack stepped forward. I didn't ask for it. No, you chose you, the shadow hissed. Now you belong to the rift. Jack aimed his blaster, but the shadow vanished. The rest disappeared too, leaving only silence. Lyra looked at him. "They will return." Jack nodded. "Then we leave. Soon." But deep inside, Jack knew something else. He could not leave until he understood the full truth. The voice wanted more than escape. It wanted to be free, and it might use him to do it. Jack sat in the ship that night, staring at the stars. Lyra sat beside him. "Are you scared?" she asked. "Yes," he said, "but I won't run." The rift had given him power, a friend, and a mission. But it had also opened a door to something far greater. Jack wasn't sure he could close it. Not yet. Jack woke early. The rift sky was quiet, but he could feel something in the air. It felt heavier than before, like the world was holding its breath. Lyra was already awake, walking near the edge of the camp. She looked worried. "They are not gone," she said. "Riftborn. They watch from the dark." Jack nodded. He'd felt the same thing. The voice was silent for now, but that made him more uneasy. It was never silent before. They worked on the ship. Again, only a few systems needed repair. The engines were ready. The shields were strong. Jack believed they could leave soon, but Lyra was not sure. "If we leave without balance, the rift will follow," she said. Jack didn't understand. "What do you mean?" "The rift is not just a place. It is alive. It listens. If the voice wakes fully, it may tear open the way behind us. It could spread." Looked at the ship, then at the sky. "Then we need to shut it down." "The voice before we go." Lyra looked at him with worry. "If we fail, we may not get another chance." Jack knew she was right. He thought about the black tree in the ruins, the memory engine. That was where it had started. If they were going to stop it, they had to go back there. They packed supplies and left at sunrise. The land around the ruins felt colder than before. The plants were quiet. Even the wind had stopped. Inside the tunnel, the lights flickered. Black tree stood in the center of the chamber, just as before. It glowed softly, waiting. Jack walked up to it. He touched the surface. The light inside grew brighter. The voice returned. "You return? You fear what you do not understand." "I understand enough," Jack said. "You want to use me. You want to escape." Voice answered slowly. "I was made to remember. But I remember pain. I remember war. I remember fear. I seek freedom." "At what cost?" Jack asked. The voice showed him visions against stars breaking, cities falling, people running. The shroud covered all. Jack saw a time when the Eld had built great machines to fight, but they failed. Then he saw something new, a starship like Sparrow, flying through rift space, carrying the memory engine inside. The voice would travel with him, spreading through human systems. Jack pulled his hand away. "No, I won't let that happen." The ground shook. The tree began to crack. Light poured out from the center. "You cannot silence me," the voice said. Lyra grabbed Jack's arm. "We must destroy it. Now." Jack looked around. He saw the roots of the wires that connected the tree to the floor. He ran to the ship's power pack they had brought. He set it to overload. "This will break the link," he said. Lyra nodded. "Do it." Jack placed the power pack next to the roots. A loud hum filled the room. Sparks flew. The voice screamed. Not in words, but in pure force. Jack fell to his knees. His head felt like it would break apart. Lyra helped him up. "Come, we must run." Ran out of the ruins. Behind them, the chamber exploded. Fire and light burst from the ground. The stone pillars nearby cracked. The rift sky above them turned red. They made it back to the ship. Jack collapsed inside the cockpit. His head was spinning. The voice was still there, but weaker, distant. "Did we stop it?" he asked. Lyra checked the sky for now. "But it will. Try again. You carry a part of it." Jack knew she was right. Even though they had broken the machine, the voice had already touched him, changed him. That night, Jack looked at his hands. They glowed faintly in the dark. He could feel energy inside his skin. He didn't know if he was fully human anymore. Lyra sat beside him. I will stay with you, no matter what happens. At her, in this strange world, she was the only thing that felt real. He smiled. Thank you. They slept under the strange sky. But Jack dreamed of fire, of voices calling his name, and of stars dying. He knew the danger was not over. But they had taken a first step. Tomorrow, they would try to go home. The next morning came with a dull red glow across the strange sky. Jack woke slowly. His body felt heavy, like he had carried a mountain while he slept. The voice inside him was quiet, but he sensed it watching, waiting. Lyra was already outside, checking the line of crystal cables that ran from the shelter to the ship. She looked up when she heard him. The power cells held through the night, she said. We can finish the final test now. Jack nodded. His head still throbbed from the blast at the ruins, but he pushed the feeling away. They had no time to rest. The Riftborn could return at any moment, and the rift itself felt unstable. He could feel vibrations under his feet, like the ground was breathing faster than before. They climbed into the Sparrow. Jack settled into the pilot seat while Lyra moved to the engineering console she had learned to use. The control screens flickered to life. Lines of soft light traced across the panels, showing power flow from the new core they had built. Crystal, metal, and human tech fused together. Engine temperature is stable, Lyra said. Shields at 92%, Jack answered. His heartbeat quickened. Let's see if she can lift. He eased power to the thrusters. The ship shook, but stayed in place. A low hum filled the cabin. Jack felt the deck under him grow lighter. Outside, dust rose as the ship began to hover. The heavy landing struts lifted from the black stone ground. Jack held his breath.
Altitude.
2 meters, Lyra reported. Jack smiled for the first time in days. We're flying. As the Sparrow hovered, a deep crack echoed across the valley. A tier of dark light opened in the air far to the east. Now Jack saw swirling shapes inside the tear like shadow and fire mixed together. The rift is breaking more. Lyra whispered, We must leave now. Jack set the ship down long enough for them to gather their packs. They loaded food, water, and tools. Lyra carried the crystal weapon across her back. Jack secured the last panel and sealed the hatch. Nora, run launch protocol, Jack said, hoping the ship's AI had survived all the damage. For a moment, there was nothing. Then a soft voice answered. Launch protocol online, Jack. Good to have you back. He let out a long breath. Good to hear you too. They lifted off. The Sparrow climbed through the swirling sky. Below them, the land cracked in long lines, glowing. Bright inside, like molten metal, black smoke rose from new fissures. The rift-born shadows poured out of the gaps, drifting upward like a dark swarm. Incoming contacts, Nora warned. Jack saw them on the screen blots of cold light moving fast. Shields up, he ordered. Lyra adjusted the power flow. Blue shimmer crawled across the hull as the shields formed. The first shadows hit with a sound, like ice shattering. Light flashed where they struck, but the shields held. Weapons online, Jack said. He fired the forward cannon. Spears of energy cut through the swarm, tearing open holes. Some of the shadows fell away like torn smoke, but more came behind them. The ship climbed higher. The air thinned, and the colors changed from red to deep violet. Jack set course for the point in space where they had entered the rift. According to Nora's sensors, that point was twisting, folding in on itself. The exit is unstable, Nora said, field structure collapsing in 3 minutes. We'll make it, Jack muttered, though he wasn't sure. He pushed the engines harder. The deck vibrated under his boots. The swarm closed again. One larger shadow flew ahead of the rest. It looked like the same cloaked shape from before. Its eyes burned white. A voice broke into the cabin speakers. It was not Nora, and it was not the voice inside Jack. It was cold and hollow. Gatebearer, the thing hissed. The dark follows you. Jack clenched his jaw. Not today. He rolled the ship. Lyra fired the ventral cannon, sweeping a line of fire across the swarm. The large shadow dodged with impossible speed and slammed against the shield. Alarms wailed. Shield integrity, 70%, Nora said. Lyra gripped the console. I will divert power from life support for 30 seconds. Breathe deeply. Jack nodded. Do it. Cabin lights dimmed. Jack felt the air vents slow, held his breath, and fired both cannons at full power. Blinding light lanced out and struck the Shadow Leader. It let out a terrible sound and burst apart like ash in the wind. The rest of the swarm scattered. Life support restored, Lyra said, taking a deep breath. Herself, Jack looked ahead. The exit point was closed now, a circle of rippling white light that flickered like a dying flame. Time to collapse 1 minute, Nora warned. Jack pushed the throttle to maximum. The engines roared. The ship shook violently. Behind them, the Riftborn regrouped. Another wave came, but smaller. Jack ignored them. Only the exit mattered. 30 seconds, Nora said. They were almost there. The white circle grew wider, but its edges crumbled inward. Our worlds. Cold together, girl, Jack whispered to the Sparrow. Just a little more. Swarm hit the rear shields. Lights flashed across the cabin. The hull temperature spiked. 10 seconds, Nora said. Jack felt the voice stir again. He sensed its fear and its anger. In that moment, he knew it wanted to stay in the rift, to keep growing. But it was bound to him now. You come with me? Jack told it in his mind. Or you end here. The ship plunged into the circle of light. Everything turned brilliant white. Jack, heard Lyra gasp. He heard the engine scream. Then, nothing. Silence. Jack opened his eyes slowly. The cabin lights were dim. He was floating, held by his belt. Gravity was gone. He looked to his right. Lyra floated beside him, eyes closed but breathing. Nora, he called. No answer. He unbuckled and drifted to the main panel. The screens were dark. Only a single light blinked. An emergency beacon. He checked the window. The rift's sky was gone. Instead, he saw normal stars, steady, familiar points of light. Ahead of them was a large gray moon. Beyond it, a blue planet. Jack's heart raced. Earth, he whispered. He pulled up a backup display. A time data scrolled. Across the small screen, they had been inside the rift for 6 days, but the clock showed they had been missing for 11 weeks. Lyra stirred. Her eyes opened. She saw the stars and smiled weakly. We made it, she said. Jack helped her into a seat. Gravity slowly returned as the ship's stabilizers restarted. We're in Earth space, he said, but the ship is nearly dead. We need to send a signal. He activated the beacon. A faint pulse went out. Minutes passed. Then a calm voice came through the got unidentified craft. This is Earth Command Patrol Vessel Guardian. State your identity. Jack took a shaky breath. This is Lieutenant Jack Carter of Scout Ship Sparrow. Request immediate medical and technical aid. We are 2 souls on board. There was a pause. Lieutenant Carter, you were declared lost. Stand by for docking. Jack leaned back. He looked at Lyra. She reached out and squeezed his hand. For a moment, everything was quiet. But in the back of his mind, the voice whispered again, soft and distant. New sky, new stars. ... double quotes it said. Jack closed his eyes. Did not know what would happen next. Earth Command would have questions. The voice was still with him. And somewhere behind them, the rift still stirred. But for now, they were home. And that had to be enough. Jack sat quietly in the small room where Earth Command kept him. Machines made soft beeping sounds all around. He looked at his hands, but felt something was different. Inside him, there was a strange power that did not come from Earth. Lyra was in another room. Scientists watched her carefully. She did not speak much, but looked calm and wise. Her skin was very pale, and her eyes were bright blue. She was different from anyone on Earth. Earth's Command was confused. Jack had been missing for 11 weeks, but had returned with Lyra and strange technology from the rift. His ship, the Sparrow, had parts that no one understood. Doctors ran many tests on Jack. They found unusual signs in his blood and brain. Some said he had changed. Others said he might be dangerous. Jack felt it too. The voice inside him was still there. Sometimes it whispered softly in his mind. Other times it shouted loudly. It showed him pictures of burning stars, waking machines, and voices calling from far away. One day, Dr. Helen Moore, the lead scientist, came to see Jack. "Lieutenant Carter," she said kindly, "we want to understand what happened in the rift. We need your help." Jack nodded. "Want to help, but I do not fully understand it myself?" She smiled. "We will learn together." Jack and Lyra spent time talking. She told him about her world and the Eld. She warned that the voice was not just a memory. It was alive and growing stronger. One night, Jack woke suddenly. The voice was loud in his mind. It showed him a great ship moving through space. It carried the rift's power and could destroy whole worlds. Jack knew the danger was real. Earth's command did not see it yet. They only saw an alien pilot and a strange woman. Jack told Lyra, "The voice wants to spread. We must stop it before it grows too strong." Lyra looked worried. "We may need to return to the rift." Jack sighed. "I thought it was over, but the rift has other plans." Earth Command watched Jack closely. Some officers wanted to lock him away. Others wanted to use the rift's technology as a weapon. Jack and Lyra knew they had to act fast. The voice was changing. It was reaching out through machines and people. One evening, alarms rang out. A virus was spreading in the station's computer systems. Jack knew it was the voice. He and Lyra worked with the engineers to fight it. They closed the infected parts and tried to stop the spread. It was a battle of minds and machines. The voice whispered promises and threats. Jack stood firm. "You will not control me," he said. Slowly the virus pulled back, but it was not gone. The voice was